All right, video number 2. I know a lot of people all of a sudden, oh, Trump won, let me put my guard down, whether that's your financial thoughts of how the future was going to play out or prepper mindset, food storage, etc. Oh, it's fine now, Trump's in charge. Well, remember, a whole lot of people that have controlled the world thus far were not happy with him winning, okay? Wasn't supposed to happen that way. And previous history shows us they usually take the guy out. We hope that never happens with Trump, because again, it'd be like John F. Kennedy being revived, and hey, he's coming up to be the president again. We know what happened. Let's protect him. He had the right mindset. He was a beautiful man. That's what we want. So Trump is that guy right now, I believe. But you'd be a fool to just let your guard down all of a sudden. Oh, the economy's going to be fantastic now. What about the $20 trillion debt? What about the unfunded liabilities, the Social Security, Medicaid, all this stuff, the 46 million people on food stamps? Where all these the jobs aren't here yet. These are real issues. Just because you won all of a sudden doesn't mean they go away, right? Now, what about the food storage issue? Could an event happen? Sure. Like a crazy winter storm that the Webbot correctly predicted, crazy weather, in which people freak out and clean the shelves off faster than you can blink your eye. So Mac Slavo from shtfplan.com has an article, Empty Shelves and Madness. A minor winter storm drove people into panic buying of food and basics. And they kind of cleaned off the shelves in a hurry. So essentially, if they can do that, the people, or the average person we should say, some of us refer to them as sheeple, who don't pay attention to things, they don't want to prepare for anything, it's fine. And then, oh, winter storm coming, and they freak out and go to the store and clean it off. When you could say, oh, I already got stuff in my cab, I don't even have to worry about that. After the storm, hell, after winter if I needed to, if I was snowed in, I could survive, I'll go replenish my shelves then. Nope, everybody else, last minute people, oh I gotta go now. But if you'd ask them in advance, hey, I heard may have a brutal winter. Maybe get some extra as you go to the grocery store over the next month, 2-3 times, whatever many times you go there. Grab extra stuff, so canned goods and things. That way, oh yeah, good idea, okay. Then maybe they do it. But if you were to say, well, I'm going to buy some long-term storage, food storage that may last years, oh, you're a crazy prepper. You're a tinfoil hat wearer. And you'd be wearing your tinfoil hat if you wanted to while munching on some food, not having to go out to the store and fight with people and clean off shelves and yell at the grocery store people, why didn't you have enough food here? Like it's their fault, which we tend to do when we want to get something and we can't have it. I want it now. I want it now, Daddy. A couple of weeks ago in early January, there was a relatively minor storm in the south and southeast U.S., cold weather, threat of the power going out, snow and ice, and empty store shelves. This wasn't the big one, and yet it was enough to bring things to a panic. If this is how people react to an extremely cold spell, then what happens when something major hits? With about 2 months of winter to go, it is the kind of routine disturbance that is likely to happen again without much ado. A much more severe storm may come as well. Shortages and ill-prepared people scrambling about for the final available resources. The angry race to the checkout line probably elicited road rage, fights and arguments. The storm that is brought out in people poses perhaps an even larger threat than the natural disaster itself. After a few short hours, ahead of a short-lived, bitter cold, practically everything was gone. And nothing even happened yet. No one had gone without, and things hadn't even gotten the chance to turn ugly. If this had been a true crisis, and not just extreme weather over the weekend, people would have killed and died over a cart of groceries, some bottles of water, or some fuel. And they could have prepared instead. Vic Bishop shared these photos via Waking Times. I'll get to them in a minute. I'll tell you when. That were sent by a Walmart employee in a North Carolina store. He witnessed a chaotic buying spree, hopelessly long lines, and a people who could be brought to their knees within mere hours and without even facing a real threat yet. It says, as a wave of extremely cold temperatures and isolated winter storms hits the south and southern parts of the United States, Americans are once again proving their tendency to panic buy food and basic provisions in the event of even the most predictable and short-term emergencies. Following images were sent to them via Waking Times Walmart employee. It's been a mess since Monday. The lines in the register look like people going to vote. Walmart employee Ras Vosti. If this type of panic buying, which can empty the shelves of a major box retailer like Walmart in just a few hours, is so commonplace even in the event of minor, predictable weather event, then what will happen when a serious crisis like a severe economic crash or an escalation of global conflict breaks out? These photos show that society is completely unprepared for anything at all out of the ordinary, and if it lasts more than 12 hours, it will cause complete chaos shortly afterwards. So here's some of the pictures now, if you want to take a look. Absolutely cleaned out. I mean, look at these. Just cleaned out. Here's some more. Bread aisle and whatnot. Okay. So the people you see on the streets in your community, and especially in the big cities, would be lucky, on average, to make it 3 days with the backup canned goods and last pickings stored in their cabinet and fridge. After 12 to 72 hours without ATMs and EBT debit cards working, and without food to buy at the stores, electricity and other services, people will absolutely lose it. There will be nothing else holding back the inner animal. And that inner animal, by the way, lives in all of us. I'm here to tell you. Remember what I've told you about the guy, his little nickname was Fairfall, had a blog, he still has it, about the Argentina collapse from 2001, 2002. He said he was lucky to have his job. He was in the city, was up 2-3 stories up, balcony of the building he worked at, eating lunch, had a hamburger, was eating a hamburger, looking down at utter chaos when the collapse hit over there that time. People in the streets in business attire, suits, ties, running with the so-called savages, animals, rioting, burning cars, flipping cars, breaking windows because they had lost their jobs, didn't know what to do. Stores were having issues like this too. While he was lucky enough to stay up there eating a hamburger. Now, the store problem wasn't as bad as far as food getting cleaned off the shelf. The bigger part was the economic collapse hitting and people flipping out. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And they acted like animals. Which goes to say, the inner animal is in all of us, because when these so-called business people, oh, hey, Bill, how you doing today? Hey, good morning, Jill. Fine, going to the office today, are out there running around with the riffraff, flipping cars, burning cars, that's the inner animal coming out that you didn't know existed, okay? That is when everyone in the general population becomes a threat against you and a liability to your survival. Do your friends and neighbors know that you prep and store lots of extra food, fuel, and supplies? Will they be knocking on your door for shelter and refuge only to eat through your carefully stocked cash? Will their greed, ignorance, and stupidity give you away, open you up to outside attacks, get you arrested or even killed? There will be a lot revealed about the human character the next time the right crisis hits and something lasts longer than a weekend storm. Be prepared and be on guard for signs like this, that things are not as stable as they appear on the surface. Becoming self-sufficient and cutting yourself out of the loop of dependency on the system, supply chain, and people around you might be a good thing to do. At the very least, a couple extra weeks of everything you might need in a crisis should be the minimum step to take, as political and economic unrest may well be coming, along with perhaps more than the average level of natural disasters and extreme weather events. These are not normal times. From Vic Bishop at the Waking Times through this site. shtfplan.com. So again, you can have the greatest guy in the world as the president. And if the webbot's saying, and correctly so far anyways, mini ice age type things coming, major weather problems, earthquake problems, which it is also correctly talked about numerous times, earth change problems in general, which lead to issues like this. Imagine if it gets to the point when wintertime comes around and all the northern states understand each year seems to be getting worse, and they have a weekend storm like this that lasts a week, and people are, again, you think the Black Friday fights are bad? And I've covered that when I saw those. I said, guys, you think these are bad on Black Friday, these people fighting over a TV set? You just wait till the right incident happens. They'll kill each other over a small loaf of bread, much less a giant TV set. They could have TVs all over the place. No one's even going to go down the aisle for the TVs. They're going to be running for the food in the right crisis. That's why I've always suggested one of your 3 things, which I now say 4. Precious metals, you need to have that. Gun, weapon, etc., protection. Food storage, long-term food storage, as in something that shall last you at least 2-3 months minimum. If longer, great, if you can afford more. And finally, I added to the list a very good reverse osmosis type of water filter. Because the crap that's in our water these days, Flint, Michigan, anyone? Been going on for 2 years. No one knew about it except for the governor or the mayor, whatever the hell it was, and he just kind of didn't want to tell anybody. 2 years, schools, everybody, the whole city drinking the poisonous water. But if you had a reverse osmosis filter, you'd probably been drinking the finest water you've ever had. You could also argue, well, what about a distiller? Correct. A distiller would also do wonders, because you're catching the steam, essentially, is what a distiller does, and then puts it back, steam form goes back to water form, and it's even more pure, by the way, than reverse osmosis. But you do have to have electricity and whatnot for that to work. You might also argue, well, don't we kind of need electricity for the water? Not necessarily. If the electricity is out in your area, water still may work. But if electricity is out all over the place in your area and the plants are down, water may not work. So whatever. But again, you can't just prepare for every single situation perfectly. One of the things I bought a while back was a dehumidifier. A dehumidifier, when turned on, of course, as you know, takes the humidity out of the air, but it has to go somewhere. So it kind of puts it in this little pan or this little container. So you can take that, and you now have pulled water right out of the air. Again, you can drink that if you had to. So I bought one. This was a few years ago, just in case. I plugged it in, tested it. It worked. Okay, we got something here. Fantastic. And that was the end of it. Just in case of an emergency, because I do have solar panels. They're not up, but I have enough in my garage and the equipment to connect to it, inverters and stuff, to where I can make something work easily. I can plug some stuff in. I need to plug the dehumidifier in to pull some water out for a few hours. No problem. I know how much wattage that thing takes, and I know, which is only, I think, around 400 something watts maybe. And I know what kind of power I've got in the garage on a sunny day. No problem. We'll be having a few gallons of water with ease. And then if I needed to do something else with it, plug something else in, etc. So not everybody has that stuff. I will tell you, if you're thinking about solar panel stuff, a very inexpensive place to buy that is SunElect, SunElec.com. Miami, Florida, by the way. You will not find better deals, especially on the solar panels themselves, than here. Period. I'm here to tell you. Throw that out as a bonus. Take care.